All right, Tom, obviously not the ending you would have hoped for, but the ceiling is, I mean, you guys have not even reached the ceiling yet with all the guys you have coming back. So just kind of take us through all the great wins down at Elite Eight and just not the tough loss.
Yeah, to get to an Elite Eight is really, really tough. That's why it's elite. There's only 8 teams out of 300 plus Division II teams, and just to get to an Elite Eight is really, really special. And being the number 1 seed was really special. And I think that was quite an accomplishment for our players and coaching staff to be able to get that. We did come up a little bit short in that championship game. I think the emotions of the season, and especially the Elite Eight, we won on Wednesday, and then Thursday we had a pretty emotional win against a very, very good Lincoln Memorial team. And there's some guys that just didn't sleep. I think I'm one of those guys. Did not sleep on Thursday night, and Friday's kind of a whirlwind, and then you play at 11 o'clock on Saturday. And we ran into a very good team, very experienced, very well coached, and a big team. And it's something that we've gotten by all year with being undersized. We were out. Obviously, Derek Geddes was out all year long. He left the program, and that really hurt. And then Hugo got hurt. Who was 6'6", 6'7", a nice big player that could play inside, play outside. And JT Warren, who was 6'3" and has some size to him, was out. And so, we had to play a little bit smaller. We took some chances, and a good team exposes that, and that's what Northwest did. They exposed us a little bit, but like you said, we've got some really good pieces coming back. We'll have some meetings this week to find out who's coming back and who's not. And then we'll gear up in the recruiting trail and get ready to go for next season.
Looking at it just overall at the season, everything that went by, not knowing if you're going to play, multiple cancellations, postponements, and everything, just kind of give us an overview of the season, how it's going to rank in your memories.
At some point in time during the season, I was like, come on, let's go. We're ready to go now. We got St. Ed's coming up, and then all of a sudden they canceled. And, I forget exactly every weekend, but I remember driving to Fort Smith and spending the night, having a nice meal, and then driving back home and not playing any games. Texas A&M International, Laredo, 10-hour drive down there. Had some good tacos at Tyson. What was the name of the place?
Taquitos Rave.
Yeah, I suppose I can't say it because of the sponsors, but we had some good tacos down there, and it's fun. Those trips are actually sometimes kind of fun. Kind of getting away a little bit in the excitement of playing games, but then when you don't get to play the games, then those trips kind of become long. And it was a tough year, and then we had to cancel a couple games because of COVID, and we had some players with COVID, and then when they try to come back, it affects everybody differently. And I was kind of always on the end of it's not that big a deal, but it is a big deal, and it was something that we were very lucky to have a season, and I thought the NCAA, our region, our conference did a great job of hosting a conference tournament. Having the regional at Lubbock was first class, and then being out at the Elite Eight was first class, and just having an opportunity to play. Even if we would have lost that first game against Dallas Baptist, it was a really good team. And I think, one of the best teams, if not the best team in our conference, they just lost a couple games, and it happens. They had to come here twice. They lost to Fort Smith, but there's just so many good teams. And if you're not playing at a high level, you're going to get beat. And we got beat 3 times this year, which, that happens. We were 19-3 and made it to the national championship game, national finalists. You'll take that any year. Now it keeps happening that we keep going and getting beat, then it kind of gets frustrating. But to get to a national championship game in any sport on any level is really a big accomplishment, and I really thank our players, our coaches, our administration for being able to get us to that national championship game, because we've had great people behind the scenes with COVID. Our trainer Devin Neal has been great, and it takes a lot of people. It's not just the players, it's not just the coaches. It takes everybody to get there.
So you said recruiting. What are some pieces you think you need to add to get over the hump and win the national championship?
We need bigger players. We need some size, and obviously you got to have size, but you got to have skill. And again, I wouldn't trade any of my players. I love our team, but it would really help. Again, we lost a player early in November. He decided to leave the program. That really hurt. Hugo really hurt not having him. Those were two big pieces we were counting on, and Hugo was battling that injury all year, and we need some size that can play inside and play outside. And you saw it in Northwest. They had a really nice team. I mean, 6 foot, and then their off guard was 6'1", but he played like he was 6'5", 6'6", and he got a little foul trouble. But then the rest of their team was 6'6", 6'7", could shoot it, could play inside, could pass the ball. I want skilled guys. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have 6'5" across the board, skilled. Give me those guys. Let's run with you any given day. But if we can get a 6'10" kid that can play, we'll take him. We can take a 6'1" kid that can play, we'll take him. And it's just going to be who decides to come back, who's not coming back next year. Because with the transfer portal, there might be some kids that maybe they want to play somewhere else. Maybe everybody wants to come back. I don't know what's going to happen. And again, we got to have those exit meetings and figure out what we have coming back for a team, and then we'll fill the pieces that we need as well.
You kind of mentioned young team, a lot of talent. He said earlier, limit has not been reached. After that game, was there a certain point that any of the players were like, okay, they're a young team too, maybe we can see them again next year at some point?
Yes, and I think that's, to your point, it's everybody's a young team because everybody can come back next year. There's no seniors. Everybody can come back. And, their team has already said they're all coming back. And they want to try to win another national championship. And I give that coach a lot of credit for that, and I give that program a lot of credit. They're doing things right where those guys want to be there because they have guys that can go play Division I. I think Ryan Hawkins could play in the Big Ten. I really do. I don't know where Hudgens could play. Missouri Valley maybe could play in the Big Ten. I don't know. And some guys want to have that challenge. Some guys want to win. And some guys want to win and have that challenge. I mean, it's not like Northwest just walked through it. They lost a few games in their conference. Their conference is very good, and they got beat in their conference I think twice. It's one of those things that you've got to have players that want to be at your school, and you've got to try to get players that buy into the system and buy in together and playing together, and then you have a good team. And we had that this year. Northwest had that. A lot of other teams had that as well. I'm sure there's teams in our conference that are looking at us and saying, hey, you know what, we played WT pretty close. They made it to the national championship game. We can get 1 or 2 more players. We can knock them off, and we can get to the national championship game and win that thing. And that's just how it is. There's a very small window for error. And, if you can close that window and you can continue to get better as a program, you have a chance to win a national championship. And that's kind of what Northwest has done. They weren't always the team to beat. There was another team up in that region that was pretty good for a few years. And now it's, and Northern State's been good, and some other teams have been good. But you've got to build it and then build upon that. And we are young. We started 2 sophomores, 3 juniors, and we had a sophomore coming in off the bench and another freshman coming in off the bench that played for us. So we'll get in the weight room, we'll get a little bigger, stronger, we'll get our guys. There's no substitution either, and I'm kind of rambling, but there's no substitution for that experience that we had out at the Elite 8. And the only 2 guys that had that experience were JoJo and Quay 2 years ago. All the other guys on our team did not have that experience of going to an Elite 8, and those guys did. Now, if we could have played last year, then all those guys would have had that experience, but there's no substitution for that experience, and hopefully that experience with Hayden, Cameron Bell, Quay and Jonell and all those guys, Kavan Booker. I'm really excited for Kavan. How good can he be getting in the weight room and really going after it this summer and improving? Because he made a lot of improvements just through the year. And now he has all summer, and we only have 10 days in the off season because we played until the end of March, and we have to take off a week before final start. So you only have a short window. We have 10 days that we can work with our guys. But when we get them back in the fall, and hopefully they do their workouts in the summer, we should have a really good team coming back next year.
Obviously, none of us were able to be there for the game. Just take us through Lincoln Memorial, the end there, the ISO Okoye, and then Zach just making the biggest shot in program history.
Well, I'll even back up before that, before the shot and the ISO. And we get down by, I think we were down by 5 with 40 seconds or 45 seconds, and we get a rebound. Jonell comes down, in transition, pull up three, nothing but net. And so now it's a 2-point game, and we've got a foul, they've got a foul, and so it came down. JoJo, I think, went 1 for 2 from the free throw line. He had a chance to tie it, he missed it. We tried to trap, we had to foul. They go down, they make 1 of 2, and so now it's a 2-point game, and we get that ball back, and JoJo goes in, tries to score, he gets blocked, balls goes out of bounds, they go back and look at it. I'm going, God, don't look at it. We don't care about the time, it's just our ball, let's go. But their player was clearly out of bounds, and it hit them, and so they actually added a little bit of time, which, yes, it made a difference because of that play, but maybe Quay goes a little bit quicker next time. So it really didn't, I don't think it really affected the game or the outcome. But we tried to get Quay in isolation. We were talking about, hey, do we try to get Zach coming off a 3 to try to win this thing? What do we do? So we decided to go with Quay. He got a pretty good look, just missed the shot, but he didn't give up. And I think he got the tip out. Janelle kind of gives a little rub screen, and the ball ends up with Zach. And, when he shot it and the horn didn't go off before, the horn went off as the ball was going in slow motion in my mind. I'm going, that thing's in. And I didn't really have a great look at it, but I'm going, that thing's in. And, sometimes you just, I don't know. And if he would have missed it, it still would have been a great game. But when he knocked that thing down and our crowd's going, and we had a great crowd there, our crowd's going nuts, and the people back home were going nuts. It was just, what an experience. And I wish that would have been the championship game, but we still had one more to go. And, that's the way it is. If you're playing March 27th, I believe, was the day. If you're playing on March 27th as a Division II school, you're doing something right. And really proud of our players, proud of the community, our coaching staff. We just had a great ride this year, and we thought it was going to be just a terrible season. It was a great ride, a lot of fun. It is what it is. It would have been nice to win it all, but it was a great ride, and really enjoyed the experience.